Here we go.
Loud and industrial, the Sten wasn't exactly the stealth weapon the Royal Marine Commandos wanted. But then came a serious modification. In 1943, a silencer was added, making it the first suppressed submachine gun.
By using a silencer for the Sten gun, the Royal Marines were able to operate covertly, and that was a big advantage.
This is the Mark II Sten gun with a suppressor attached. The suppressed version was used for sentry removal and surprise attacks, particularly by raiding troops we now call commandos.
Going hot!
Well, as you can see, the bulk of the noise you heard was the bullet impacting on that steel plate.
The suppressed Sten. Silent but violent. Perfect for the Royal Marine Commandos. The Royal Marines can take you down stealthily with a razor-sharp knife, or ruin your day with a hail of lead. Skilled in every art of warfare, these Brits endure the maddest, baddest training regime in the world.
They weed out the weak sisters, so who's left are pretty dead-gum.
The Royal Marines are an all-terrain machine. A 4x4 elite unit with no reverse gear. Sent in to do the jobs other units can't or won't do. They're trained to fight in every conceivable terrain. Selection and training is fierce, and only the toughest survive.
You just don't go, hey, I want to join. They sort of have to look at you, and they weed out the weak sisters. So who's left are pretty dead-gum good.
To even get to day one requires going through some pretty difficult selection tests, and I think roughly 1 in 5 managed to get through the selection tests.
But for those selected, the real pain is just around the corner. Awaiting them is the ultimate in endurance, and what is the longest training regime of any infantry unit in the world.
The basic training course for a private soldier in the Royal Marines is at least 28 weeks. That includes their commando course, which is the sort of physical toughening up.
To get through training, combat, life, Royal Marines have a unique but essential weapon, a sense of humor.
And they will always tell you that if you can't take a joke, you shouldn't have joined. It does require a certain sense of humor to be a Royal Marine Commando.
You learn how to keep going when life just seems completely miserable. It's hard to do that on your own. When I've thought I've been hours away from death, then I've wanted to enjoy the time that I do have left. And one of the ways you do that is by laughing about things.
The Royal Marine sense of humor is reinforced by an intense bonding process. They're a family that will fight and die for each other.
When you're standing in a trench next to someone and you're being shot at, the person on your right and the person on your left become your best friends, and you don't want to let them down, and that's what motivates you.
The Royal Marines ethos, positive attitude, self-sacrifice, shone through in World War II. Time and again, men put their bodies in the line of fire. Men like Corporal Tom Hunter, a man who would become a legend for all Royal Marines.
Corporal Hunter was a section commander in 4-3 Royal Marines Commando during the Battle of Lake Camacho.
The battle took place in the final throes of the Second World War, as the Allies attempted to drive the Germans out of Italy. The Royal Marines were asked to attack well-defended German positions. Hunter and his men were exposed and taking a pummeling.
His troop was pinned down by German machine gun fire, and Hunter grabbed his Bren gun, got onto an exposed piece of ground, gave supporting fire, and then raced in with his Bren gun and destroyed the enemy.
Having seen his mates receive a battering from the German machine gun posts, Hunter had gone and taken them on single-handed, guns blazing, an action which saved his friends' lives, but cost his own.
Hunter was killed in the process and was awarded the VC posthumously.
Unleashing hell, Hunter handed out his own brand of gunishment using the classic Bren. Based on a Czechoslovakian design, this British beast first hit the battlefield in 1938.
In the grand scheme of things, the Bren gun is a very important weapon. This is the base of fire weapon for the British Army in the Second World War. This is the thing that keeps their head down while you maneuver against them. It's a very slow firing weapon. And because it's slow firing, it's very accurate. And it's a fully automatic weapon. When you pull the trigger, it fires fully automatically. But because it fires fairly slowly, you can milk the trigger and get single shots out of it.
Some men get so good with a Bren that they can even play tunes on it.
This weapon weighs a good 25 pounds. And consequently, I'm resting on my knee because carrying this thing will put a hurt on you. To fire this weapon from the hip and running, well, the adrenaline is going to have to be really pumping.
The Bren is a base of fire weapon. It was not designed to be picked up and shot from the hip. Ex-U.S. soldier Guy Richards shows just how tough a task that would have been for Corporal Tom Hunter.
The Bren gun can be fired in the assault mode from the hip. Let's see what it will do on these enemy melons. As you can see, the Bren gun can't be fired from the hip in the assault mode. I only had melons to kill. Tom Hunter had real Germans who shot back.
The legend of Tom Hunter greatly enhanced the legend of the Bren gun. But like Hunter himself, it had had its time. And in the 1960s, the Royal Marines adopted a bigger, badder base of fire weapon, the General Purpose Machine Gun. A metal-wrecking obstacle obliterator that is still going strong to this day.
This is the M240 General Purpose Machine Gun. This weapon replaced the Bren gun, and it gave a good deal more flexibility. The Bren, although it's an excellent design in its day, was limited by a 30-round box magazine. This is a belt fed, and all you have to do is keep running belts through it, clean it out every now and then, it's good to go. This is an infantryman's delight. Okay. Going hot. Machine guns get toasty warm. Let's look at the sizzle. This is why I advise machine gunners to wear gloves, because you're going to get burned. As you can see, the machine gun, 200 rounds, is completely demolished the wall. This wall would provide no protection whatsoever to anybody hiding behind it. Machine gun, 200, cinder wall block, 0.
Heavy firepower and an iron will has given the Royal Marines an edge in countless conflicts. But bringing the pain with a wall of lead rain isn't always the solution. Time and again, they've taken standard issue rifles and made every bullet count.
Imagine, if you will, rifle fire of an accuracy and volume which had never before been seen on the battlefield.